in your life, I'm pretty sure you weren't born this way. You probably had some inflection points in your life. Are there some inflection points that you remember right now that made you change the way you think completely and made you like grow a lot in your life from a business perspective?
Yes. And
back then?
Yeah. I'll give you the 3 or 4 that were the most significant. The first one was when I got started, I got married at age 18. I had no education. I had 2 children at the age of 20 and nobody cared. And I had the need of somebody 40. And the only jobs I could get back then, there were 2. In the beginning, they were very low salaried. And I had one job being a low-level accountant at this big factory. And there were like 5 of us at a table. And the person next to me had been there literally 15 years. And he was making $50 more a month, 15 years worth of progression than I was. And this was all he had. And I thought, I don't want that to be my life. So that was the first thing. The second thing was because then I switched to only working with people that wouldn't give me a salary. They would just give me a share of whatever I created. And so I had no responsibility to work 8 to 5 any one place. So I worked many different activities at the same time because it was always commission. It was never salary. But I had the great fortune of never doing it in the same industry. And after doing it in over 10 industries, I made this profound realization that people in one industry didn't have any idea how people in other industry did things, different strategies, mindsets, marketing approaches, business models, and that concepts that seemed as common as dirt in one industry, but weren't known in another, could be applied with extraordinary success. And I started doing that, and massive things happened. Then I realized what I said. You could do something one time and you have to do it over and over again, or you can do it once and have it be a business that things keep happening over and over again. So you do something once and you get paid for it continually. Then I was introduced years ago. I worked for a bunch of people who were specialists in what I'm talking about. One of them was the Deming organization. He was the father of optimization, highest and best use, and how to get process improvement, how to make everything you did produce more now and more later. And I had to learn that to help them. And then I worked for a company that tested all kinds of variables, different ways of doing things. They would go into big retail stores, and by moving products to different parts of the shelves or different ends, they would double or half sales. And by having 3 different called SKUs, different products together versus 2, they would measure it. And I saw dramatic differences, and I learned all that. And I realized that I was a catalyst. I could go to somebody running a business and say, look, if you do it, well, stop. Then I made one more realization. In our personal lives, Thiago, our lives have for years and years been benefited by levers, fulcrums and levers. A broom is a lever. A wheelbarrow is a lever. A screwdriver is a lever. A car jack is a lever. A light switch is a lever. The button you push to open a door is a lever. A crank that opens a window is a lever. The pop top on a can of Coke or beer is a lever. These are things that let a little bit of effort produce an enormously bigger result. And then I realized when I got all this knowledge by working in all these industries, that there's all these levers that no one tells you about. There's all these levers you can use in business to make whatever you do now be worth even more tomorrow. And when I got into that, it excited me. And then I had one more realization, and this is a sad one, but it's also an inspiring one. I saw all these passionate business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs who would dedicate a whole lifetime to a business, and they wanted that lifetime dedication to produce, their retirement, their security. They wanted it to generate the wealth they were going to create, the retirement, the prosperity, the satisfaction, the asset value. And I saw that they didn't realize they were accepting a fraction of the result, the wealth, the income, the success, the satisfaction they could be getting. And I became the rest of my life has been on a mission to demonstrate to these people how much more is possible. And by the way, it can be translated to getting jobs. I've taught my son, who's in the medical field, how to get every job he's ever gone after, even if he had 100 other people that he was competing against, by using variations of the same thing. I've taught actors how to get jobs using variations of the same thing. They all translate because they are based on, and you probably understand neuroscience, how the mind works. And if you understand how decisions are made by people and how they create value, and by the way, I was going to say two other things. I didn't say this. One of the greatest insights I ever had was the concept of reason why. And I was telling somebody the other day, so I'll tell you guys, here that we have what we call wonder drugs, probably there. Penicillin was a wonder drug. It cured all kinds of bacteria diseases. Aspirin is like a over-the-counter wonder drug because it deals with a lot of things. Baking soda is a wonder product. Garlic is a wonder product. But in marketing, in business building, in human interaction, there is a concept that most people don't understand, and it's called the reason why. If you are a business, you have to be able to give somebody the reason why. Why should they buy your product or service from you, or that category of product or service? Why does your product deliver a greater result? Why should they trust you? Why should they buy today and not some other time, or not at all, or from somebody else or some other alternative? And when you master that, it gives you great power to understand how the mind works.